Very good evening. A bit worried that I was going to be short of topics this evening, but the recent few days, particularly in the world of football, have given us just one or two things to talk about. But besides, it was already going to be a very meaty programme. In the sense of John Pearson, the former Sheffield Wednesday player, was never described as meaty, but he was always called lanky, I think, the ex-striker. But now, the voice of Wednesday player, the man who goes into raptures whenever Sheffield Wednesday score a goal, which is quite often these days, and particularly in the final few seconds when this man absolutely goes berserk and loses it. In the second part of the show, we have the Chief Executive of Sheffield Eagles, John Whaling, the latest on their survival battle, and it is going well. I believe we can have some good news from John about that. Mentioning controversy, and certainly there's been plenty of that in football recently, there's just been one locally involving Chesterfield FC, and it's attracted a lot of comment over a period of time now about a soccer school, independent of the club but related to the club, that ran into some difficulties. But the good news has been that it's been relaunched, you could say rescued, by a heavyweight combination of Sir Rodney Walker, one of the most renowned administrators in football, and the global sportswear giants FBT. And I'm delighted to welcome Liam Sutcliffe, who manages what is now the FB International Academy. I think I've got that right, FBT International Academy, having previously been the CFC Football Development School, am I right? Yeah. So this was independent of the football club. There were difficulties. If you're a Chesterfield supporter, and many of them watching tonight, you'll know what those are, but we will go into those, how those difficulties arose, how those debts arose, and the turnaround that we've reached now. And Sheffield and District Junior Sunday League, and we've got plenty of viewers from there, they're affiliated to you in some way, aren't they? There's a link, so that's of interest to them. Meantime, JP, how's your voice?
It's very good at the moment, thank you, Alan.
Yeah.
I've not lost it.
Not quite. Not quite.
Not quite, yeah.
You were at Blackburn Tuesday?
I was at Blackburn on Tuesday, yeah.
I heard your commentary on the winning goal. Great strike.
Oh, it was Fletcher's. I mean, I love Fletcher. He's got everything that I didn't have. He's got
a bit of skill.
Yeah, that's it.
Control.
He's control and the way he links. I think that him and Hooper, there's a partnership there, and it could be deadly.
A shot from outside the area, that's another thing.
Yeah, he teed it up nicely for himself and found the net. I think he might have had a slight deflection, but it was probably on its way in anyway. Yeah,
he's certainly a great contact. There was a bit of a looping deflection when I saw it back. That partnership you mentioned now, it's as if Carlos Carvalho, with a lot of advice from guys like you, is deciding we're going to give that combo a run now, a run of games.
I doubt that Carlos is listening to what I'm saying. I think that
he listens to what I say.
Are you sure?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. So, but he has. I mean, when Gary Hooper didn't start the first couple of games, but then he's come on, and you could see that them two seem to have a bit of telepathy about them.
Yeah.
So I think there's a good partnership there. I mean, they've played really well together so far, but I think there's a lot more to come.
I haven't been too impressed with Gary Hooper when I've seen him in recent games going back into last season, but I thought last Saturday against Nottingham Forest there were signs of him hitting some kind of form there.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get the ball to him. He needs to be involved. I think the way he receives a ball, he's always on the half turn. He's an example to, if you want to watch a striker, I mean, he always knows where it's going to go. He receives that ball. He rarely gives it away. He could be involved a little bit more. Yeah, I accept that. But I'm a fan of Gary Hooper's.
Yeah, and Fletcher brings so many qualities to the game and helps Hooper. That control, that menace, that he's going to be competitive.
And the additional height as well.
Yeah. Talk more about Sheffield Wednesday and another very challenging game at home to Brighton as the programme goes on. We'll also discuss the Blades. I insist on it because a Blades fan contacted me and said, very poor, disappointed, no Sheffield United on the programme. But I'll tell you what, in the next couple of weeks, you will not be disappointed. I guarantee it. I'll tell you more nearer the time. Meantime, your football loyalties. What's your football background, Liam Sutcliffe?
Well, I'm a Leeds fan.
It's been a short conversation. I think that's it. Good night.
Grew up opposite Ellen Road. Mum and Dad had the pub. Old
Did they?
Peacock, yeah.
Did they?
Yeah. For about a decade, I think.
Yeah.
All through my childhood. All sorts of different players used to come in the pub when you know, not after training, but maybe after the
Just
home
name
game.
drop a few. Don't mention him though. He might have been
He
one
never
of those
came in. I don't remember him.
non-drinker, teetotaler.
I used to watch him though, from the West Stand,
Did you?
Ellen Road. Yeah, I used to watch him.
What did you think, honestly?
Good player, strong player. Maybe he didn't shoot enough from outside box, but yeah, I used to watch them all. And then played for a number of years, goalkeeper.
Right. You know, they say goalkeepers don't know anything about football and can't be managers.
It's not true. It's not true. There's loads of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's loads of us.
Dino's off for a start.
Well, that's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Name me a few others. I'm trying to think now. There was Mackay at Blackburn for many years. I forget his Christian name. What was his?
I can't remember.
Kevin Blackwell.
Kevin Blackwell's one.
Chris Turner.
Chris Turner.
There we are.
Yeah.
Why did I not think of Chris Turner? Been a manager at Sheffield Wednesday and Hartlepool and one or two other places. Yeah, and you work in allegiance with him now. And that's where we come on to the football school, which did run into difficulties. There were reported debts of £77,000. Is that an accurate figure?
Yeah, as an accumulated debt over
Right.
3.5 years.
You're not contesting that. So the school had been in operation for 4 years. Let's just go back to the beginning and how it came into being.
Well, it came into being by myself and Chris Turner having a meeting. We had a chat. It was currently operating under a different disguise, if you like, whereby it's a similar model, but the model's evolved over the last few years, and it was connected to Rotherham United Football Club at the time. And I decided that it would be better for the players and the individuals if it was part of Chesterfield Football Club.
If it was part of Chesterfield?
Yeah, in association with.
In association with. But there was no actual business connection in terms of investment from the football club or ownership by the football club.
No.
So you were a self-employed owner of the business, were you? Running the business?
But not at Rotherham United. The finances had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
I believe it had nothing to do with Rotherham United at the time either.
No. So obviously supporters are justifiably concerned when they read that a football club that's associated, that a coaching school that's associated with their football club is running into difficulties and debt. How did that debt arise?
Well, it's accumulated debt over 3.5 years. So if you look at, you know, the majority of Cat 3, Cat 4 academies up and down the country, £77,000 over 3.5 years is not too bad, considering that, you know, they have to invest in their academy to a tune of, you know, somewhere between £75,000 and £150,000. They don't see that money again, unless a player gets sold at the top end.
Yeah. You're a football specialist, but you're not a management specialist in terms of a business man.
No, I wouldn't ever pretend to be either.
Is that where some difficulties arose, or can we?
Possibly, in terms of being a jack of all trades and trying to develop the model at the same time as administration and dealing with the finances and marketing, what you're doing, and just, you know, generally it's hard. It's very hard. It's very long days, ridiculous amount of hours.
Yeah.
And you're putting it in because you believe in what it is that you're trying to do, not necessarily for you, but for your, you know, for the players that you have on your books at the time.
But this now has attracted, I used the word rescue at the start of the programme, you no longer got £77,000 of debt because you're 50% owned by Sir Rodney Walker and FPT.
No, it's important to differentiate between the two. CFC Football Development Schools was what we set out as. In January of this year, I decided to move in a different direction, which meant that we would be looking to try and attract players from everywhere. not just from the pond that we've been fishing in previously. So really, you know, we moved it into an international market, which is where you find us now fishing in a much bigger pond for players, without neglecting the local, you know, youngsters.
And Chesterfield will get first option on any talent that
definitely,
comes through.
without a shadow of a doubt.
The idea, and certainly looking in from the outside as a supporter, I was delighted to see the backing of this. You were perhaps relieved as well.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, but Sir Rodney Walker's a man of great clout, former chairman of the Rugby Football League, former chairman of World Snooker, Sport England, and you name it. I mean, he's a highly credible figure.
Yeah.
And he's seen this as, I think I even quoted him last week, as a blueprint or a model, a role model for others around the world. How does that make you feel?
Well, it's exciting. It means that we have the ability to do what I probably always wanted to do. With the involvement of FBT and Sir Rodney, we're going to have a platform now on which to develop the current model, and, you know, as he's quite rightly said, you know, take that worldwide.
What we'll do in the second part of the show, we'll talk about what that model actually is and what the benefits are to football clubs to have, instead of the overheads of an academy system, which are quite high, to have almost a separate company feeding them, and some kind of, because I think that's what the interest is, where Sir Rodney's interest arises, and we'll come and talk to you about that. What do you think from outside, JP? What are your thoughts on?
Well, just listening to that, I mean, how much do academies cost to run each year?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that academies should be abandoned or anything. I don't think, you know.
No.
But that sounds a fantastic model that Chesterfield have got. I mean, I don't know how much it costs for Chesterfield to run an academy, but you know, if they've sort of negated the risk.
Yeah. And just before we move on to JP and we talk about academies and relate it to Sheffield Wednesday, then, as now, no association with the football club, no financial strings, apart from the loans, which I reported in my Sheffield Telegraph column last week from Chris Turner and from Ashley Carson, which
they're individual, they're not anything to do with the football club,
which are now being repaid. And anybody who was owed money previously, that's all sorted.
Correct.
That's all sorted.
Yes.
Okay, right. Sheffield Wednesday, we don't talk about the academy a lot, because we did do a few years ago when the club wasn't succeeding, and people were saying, well, come on, you need to produce a few players, and a few players were actually started to filter through with Lee Bullen in control there. But now the emphasis has gone completely away from that to purchasing with more money.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't mean to say that you're not going to keep producing players. It just means those players have got to be top quality to get into the Wednesday team. Yeah. You know, as you move further up, it's harder to produce those players. Yes. So those players doesn't mean that they're not going to be a professional footballer. It just means they might not be a professional footballer at that club. Yeah. So, you know, it's no good saying, oh, yeah, well, this player, he's great because he's from our academy, but he's got to be better than what we've got. Yeah. You know, so it's just natural, isn't it?
It's going to be harder, as you say, for young kids to break into Sheffield Wednesday's first team squad because of the quality that they've got there now.
So it always is as they go up. You know, you go up the leagues, you know, you get into the Premier League, it's always harder for youngsters to break through.
It is. But I don't think Wednesday fans would have it any other way, because they've been crying out for this sort of investment for years and years.
Without a doubt. You know? And it's there at the moment. I mean, I wouldn't say we were unlucky in the playoffs. I thought we deservedly got beat in that game. Yeah. We got beat 1-0, it could have been 2 or 3. Kieran Westwood was outstanding, you know, and he kept the score down. But you know, the dream was there. Yeah. You know, to see Wembley full as that, and the Sheffield Wednesday supporters stay behind. And Wednesday supporters are amazing. You know, and I'm not saying that just because they are. Yeah. You know, most teams that side would have emptied, you know, 5 minutes before the end, and everybody would have gone home. And not the Wednesday supporters. They stayed and they cheered the team on. And I think Sheffield Wednesday is a great place to be at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, we'll come on as the programme goes on. We'll talk more about the team and Carlos. I think this is now approaching the longest managerial stretch he's ever had. It's his 16th job, and he's been in this pretty much as long, if not longer, than any of the previous, and prospects for going on a lot further. But one manager who's out of work, and who could have predicted this a week ago? Sam Allardyce, deposed as England manager, well, almost got rid of himself with stupidity and being lured into a situation he should never have been in. Have you got any sympathy?
Not at all, none whatsoever. You know, I was when Roy Hodgson went, you're thinking who's going to be the next manager. And when Sam's name came up, I thought I've not really thought about Sam Allardyce. But then I was quite pleased he got the job. I thought, he's a passionate man. You know, perhaps that's something that we need injected into our team. I do believe we've got some excellent players. I really do. And how we've not moulded them, and the performances that came in the summer, you can't. I can't begin to assess what went wrong.
No.
So in the end, if I'm the manager of a team, I take responsibility. You know, all these people that say, well, once the players cross that white line, it's nothing to do with me. Well, that's.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
There is a word.
There's a word, but I'll not use it.
Answers on a paper. Tweet me the word.
So what?
You often do. You often do tweet me that word.
So. What's the manager been doing all week? You know, for those players to go out and then all of a sudden, what do we do? What should we do?
Yeah.
You know, they've got that responsibility. They've got a way of playing. They've got a way of defending. So the manager is ultimately in charge.
What about the wider controversy of corruption or allegations of corruption in football? Look, you know, you've been closer to the game than me, but both of us have been close to the game for long enough to know that it's far from whiter than white. Things happen within it that are unsavoury, and you know, we're only seeing a few names, but
we've seen a few names, but there's more to come out, and I've no sympathy if they've got caught and they banked to rights. Then they should be left the game. Everything that's possible should be thrown at them. We're preaching to the world. We're preaching to Russia. We're preaching to everybody about integrity. But we've got. If we don't, how can we preach about integrity when the England manager's doing this? Or we've got to be seen to be whiter than white, and then we can preach.
It wasn't the crime of the century by Sam Allardyce, but it was appearances. The England manager can't be seen to be talking in those terms, can he?
Probably legally, he probably didn't do anything wrong. He was talking about, we can get exactly. It's that DNA. And there's another word you could insert in there if you want to.
Yeah.
But he wasn't. His integrity was questioned.
Yeah, absolutely.
The England manager his integrity cannot be questioned.
Well, the whole integrity of the game, quite rightly, is being questioned now. I mean, obviously, other names have come up. Tommy Wright has left Barnsley already, following allegations overnight. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank at QPR. This is something outside of his managerial role that he was negotiating to do. I'm not so sure he's contravened anything there.
I agree with you. I mean, from what I've seen of Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank, he was agreeing to go and do a talk or something in the Middle East, and he was agreeing a fee. Now, that fee might be a lot of money to us, but to him it might be half a week's wage,
it doesn't look
drop
good
in the ocean. But fair play to him. If he's done something wrong, then I say, and there's more revelations to come out. We'll wait and see. But from what I saw, he didn't look as though he'd done an awful lot wrong.
Nor me. And Massimo Cellino at Leeds, I'm really unclear about it, but it wasn't surprised to see his name linked with all of this, because you'd have been massively surprised if he hadn't cropped up somewhere. So not commenting on what the allegations are in his case. The thing that occurs to me, JP, is many people in the game, they don't think they're doing anything wrong. It's a massive cultural problem. There's too much money in it, and too much money breeds greed.
Well, the trouble is, they're all in the same pot, and they're all, drinking out the same cup. And when you see Jason Cundy
having drunk out the same cup, you're then going to.
But then you see all the cronies coming round and defending them. I'll tell you who was a breath of fresh air tonight. And I saw him earlier on the television, was Chris Coleman, and he came out and he went, zero sympathy, zero tolerance. He said, I've got absolutely no respect for anybody who does that. And I thought, well, that's fair play. For somebody like him to come out and say that.
Well said.
Yeah, well said, Chris Coleman.
Absolutely. The whole game needs a clean-up. There's no question whatsoever about that. You two guys, thanks for the first half. You're going to be here for the second half. That's with Liam Sutcliffe, with John Pearson, also John Whaling of Sheffield Rugby League Club, Sheffield Eagles. Hope you can rejoin us in 5. See you then.